Hello, 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 everybody. Thanks for joining me in the craft room with Caron. I am Caron Bailey, your independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. And you guys, today I am here to present to you my card as the entry into the Stamping with Friends blog hop. I will post the link to the blog in my description box, but give me a couple of days in order for the blog to go live that way, and I will have a free tutorial for you with how to create this card as well. All right, so the Stampin' with Friends blog hop this time was a short notice one, so I'm happy to come up with this one for you. And this one we feature an online exclusive. The theme is online exclusive. And so what that means is that if you're familiar with the Stampin' Up! Online exclusives, these are products that are only available on in our online stores, Stampin' Up! Online stores. They will not be found in any of the catalogs. So this is just an opportunity for us to share our favorites and what we're doing with them. Okay. So I chose for my card set, or my stamp set, this is So Very Merry. And you guys, guess what? So Very Merry is well, it's Christmas in August. You know, I find that I have to get ready really early for Christmas in order to be ready for Christmas, if that makes any sense. So I'm starting with Christmas in August, and this blog was just the perfect opportunity for me to play with this So Very Merry set. So it reminds me of stained glass. And so that's why I'm excited to work with this. So there's going to be a little bit of a fun fold. There's going to be a little bit of some heat embossing, because y'all know I love to heat emboss. There's going to be some coloring in this video. So those are the techniques that we are going to work with today. So again, let's get some administrative things out of the way, you guys. If you see any of the products that I'm using tonight that you would love to be able to have for yourselves or recreate the cards that I'm about to make, shop in my online store at www.austintexas.gov. Cancel that, y'all. That's my work. That's my work email. www.sweetsignatures.stampinup.net, and please use the host code for the month of July. This host code expires on the 31st of July, and a new one will be active from the 1st of the month. With this, every $50 purchase that is made in my online store, you will receive a free gift with purchase from me. Now, if you order in the month of July, if you're watching this in July, several things will happen, okay? In the month of July, when you place a $50 order, of course, you get a product from me, a free gift with me. And Stampin' Up! Is hosting our bonus days. And what does that mean? Is in Stampin' Up! Land, for every $50 you spend, you then receive a $5 coupon that you get to redeem in August. So if you have an order of $5, then you'll get an order of $50, then you'll get one $5 coupon. If you have an order of $200, and I'm just saying that if you have an order of $200, well, that'll be 4 coupons that you will get, 4 $5 coupons, or a value of $20 that you can redeem in August. Okay. Now, I've put together a class next month that'll help you earn at least one $5 coupon. And that's called my bonus days class. It'll be on the 5th of August, provided my own materials arrive in time, the 5th of August at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And it features the Bright and Beautiful Memories and More card suite. Okay. So if you purchase all of the items that you see in this flyer, you guys, it will definitely get you at least one $5 coupon. Okay. I think that's all I've got, you guys. Let's get ready to create a card. So I'm going to go with the book binding fold, or the book bind. I'm not sure how everybody else chooses to say it. but I'm going to go with the book binding fold, okay? And I'm going to create my card base first, so we can get that part out of the way. Oh my gosh, we're going to have a little avalanche over here. Hold on. All right, here we go. And so we're going to bring in our Stampin' Up! Trimmer. And normally, if you're familiar with me and my crafting, I prefer my A2 cards in I prefer a 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4 orientation. Well, for this project, I'm going to cut my paper a little bit differently. My blade seemed to have come out. And we're going to cut at 4 1/4. And I always do my cutting first. Why? Especially if it's going to be one of a standard. So I'm going to do my cutting first, because now I will have at least enough that I can do another card base. Okay. And I'm going to go in, we're going to score our regular on the 5.5, like so. And then we're going to adjust this fold to 4 1/4 and score again. Okay. Now, if you want to look at it, right? There is 1 1/4 inches between the spaces, okay? Between the folds. All right, so we're going to put this away for a little bit. And then, guys, I haven't done this card. I haven't created this card. I'm actually just creating it on the fly, so to speak. And so we're just going to burnish our folds. And again, we fold away from we fold towards the mountain for most cases. And then we're going to burnish. We're going to make sure our card ends are even. Burnish. And then we're going to fold this back on itself, like so. And I'm going to burnish here. And then I'm going to burnish here as well. Now, here you go. Perfect, right? So now what we're going to need is we're going to need some basic white cardstock. We're going to need a couple of pieces. So this piece right here should be 4 by 5 and a 4 by 4 1/4, I believe is what this should be. But I'm going to tell you exactly what it is, because each of these grid lines is 1/4 inch, right? One, two, three, 4. So this is 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, 5 inch, 5.5. Because remember, that's what we had here. We scored at 5.5. All right, so now we have this lines, and I did that just to verify with you guys that each of the lines are 1/4 inch. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches, 4 inches. So this is 4 1/4, right? So if we have 4 1/4, actually this is 4 1/4 right here. I'm going to use my ruler because I feel more confident with my measurements. That feel more confident with my measurements. All right. So we will see. I can't go from there. So really what we should do is just measure this part. So this right here is 4 1/4. And let's write this down. Should be 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. But again, we like to verify. I like to verify. That's 4 1/4 by, and we cut it at 4 1/4, so it should be 4 1/4. So that means if we're going to layer, right, we go down 1/8 of an inch, we'll need a piece of 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. And I'm going to use Night of Navy. And then my basic white for the inside of the card should be 4 by 4. Okay, now on the outside, here's what we have, right? We're going to have a piece also that is 4 1/8 by 5 1/8 by 4 1/8. And that's going to be my Night of Navy. And then I'm going to need a piece of designer series paper that is 4 by 4. And then a piece of basic white that is going to be 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. You see that I just took everything down by 1 inch, by 1/8 of an inch. Now, this section right here, we already know is 1 1/4 inches because I told you that earlier. So I'm going to need a piece of Night of Navy that is 1 1/4 inches. So it's 1 1/8 by 4 1/8. And then a piece of DSP that is 1 inch by 4 inch. Okay, so that's how simple it is to come up with our measurements for this card. Okay, again, if you don't have it, you didn't get it, this will be right in the frame, so you are more than welcome to copy this, but it will be in our on the blog. Okay, so let's get cutting our Night of Navy cardstock. And bring our trimmer back in. And so we're going to need a piece of Night of Navy that is 4 1/8. And 4 1/8 on the Stampin' Up! Trimmer is 2 ticks over from the 4-inch line. By 4 1/8. And we're going to need 2 of those, right? So let's cut the other 4 1/8. And then, so we've checked this off. We've checked this one off. And now we're going to need a piece of Night of Navy that's 1 1/8 by 4 1/8. Okay. Now we already know that this was 4 1/8 because that's what we cut it to. And now we just need a piece that's 1 1/8. You guys, The beauty of the Stampin' Up! Trimmer is that you have measurements on the right-hand side as well as on the left. And this actually goes out to 1.5 inches. So let's go ahead and find the 1 1/8 inch piece on the right side. So here's our 1, here's our 1 1/4, and right here is our 1 1/8. Line that up, do a little slice. And here we have all of our matte pieces. Now let's bring our designer series paper in. And you guys, I am using paper from the, this is again, the online exclusive. And this is from the One Horse Open Sleigh designer series pack. Let me quickly run through the paper with you. And it's all gorgeous, you guys. All of it is gorgeous, okay? So we have on the front of our cards, we have what I'm calling our scenic or scenery cards. So here's our the front cards, and this is what the back will look like. Okay. Here's the second print. So we've got reds, and the beauty of Stampin' Up! Paper is that the front side might have a little bit of a design, but the back side, one of the sides will always be a solid, okay? Something that you can use, okay? For any occasion. This is absolutely gorgeous right here. My favorite. We have that. Love this. So there's so many choices for what you can do for your cards. What paper you can choose. Okay. I love this one. This would make a, I mean, and the thing about all of this stuff is you can make the card, the designer paper, do the work by itself, okay? Almost done through the pack. Here's the cardstock. And the last, okay? All of our designer series paper packs, especially our 6x6, they are $12.50. I love this one. Again, you will not find this in the catalog. It is an online exclusive, so you will not find it in the catalog. All right. So I decided I wanted to use this image from the paper pack. Okay. So now let's get this cut to the measurements that we need. Okay. And we only need 2 pieces. So let's get this put away. And then we can bring our trimmer back in. There we go. Put this away. And then bring our trimmer back in. All right, so I don't think this is directional paper, but be cognizant of the back as well, because if you're gonna flip it over, you might want how you cut the front might impact what you're doing on the back. Now, because I'm gonna use the same, and I want the back to be horizontal rather than, I'm sorry, vertical rather than horizontal. I want to make sure that when I trim this paper on the back, this is vertical, horizontal. Nope, vertical, sorry. Can you tell? I'm directionally challenged, just so you know. So the first cut we're going to do, this needs to be 4x4, as you can see from our little measurements. So we're going to cut this to 4 inches by 4 inches. And we already know that this is 4 inches. So we need a piece now that is 1 inch by 4. So again, we're going to utilize the right side of the cutting, the trimmer, to find out our 1 inch mark. And then we're just gonna slice it right through. And we're gonna have our 1-inch piece of designer paper, okay? We'll put this aside, we might use that some. All right, so let's get started. I think that's all of the trimming we're gonna do for tonight. So let's get our cards put together, our base, because we still have to stamp, right? So I want the, I still didn't think it do it right. But anyway, it's all good. I'm gonna put the 1-inch piece on that side. And then we're gonna put this on the front side, like this. And then I didn't cut my white. So we're gonna grab a, gotta bring that paper trimmer back. I'm sorry, guys. I thought I had done all my cutting. I did not. So we gotta cut some of the basic white cardstock, okay? So we got some basic white, and our basic white, we need a piece that's 4 by 4. For the inside, and then the scraps for our stamps. So we need a piece that's 4 by 4. For the inside. And then I'm not sure what size we're going to need for the outside. So we're just going to do our stamping first. And then figure out what we're going to do about the rest of it later. Because that's how I would kind of work a little bit. All right, so let's put this together. And again, I am a liquid glue kind of girl. It's definitely out of necessity rather than anything else. I just have a very difficult time with lining things up properly, and I really do need, I guess my depth perception is a little off a lot. And so I just need that little extra time to decide, to be able to put things in place properly. So, all right, I think I am going to bring in some ribbon, not sure again. So I'm not going to seal the card just yet, because I don't know that part of the card either. Y'all, I'm creating on the fly here with you. I love creating on the fly. I think for me, that's the best thing. Well, that's how my mind works anyway. That is how my mind works. I'm sorry. I tell people have asked me, I'm in the paralegal course at the university, the local community college here. And one of the things I've been asked is, well, what field do you want to go into? And my first thought is always, I don't want to do litigation, right? I don't want to be a litigation paralegal because I just don't think I think well on my feet like that. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? Well, it's different when you're doing it for card making versus when you're doing it for, you know, potentially trying to save somebody's life. So that's a lot to consider, and it's a lot of stress that I just don't need in my life. So I'm not sure yet about what I'm going to do. Anyway. All right, so there we go. Get this all laid in, aligned properly, we hope. There we go. So that's what we have. Now we're going to lay this on the inside and call our base is, I'm going to wait on this part because I don't know if I want to stamp a sentiment on the inside just yet. So I'm going to wait on that one just a little bit. So now we can put this aside, you guys, and then grab some basic white cardstock. And we're going to bring our stamp set in, okay? Now I'm going to stamp my image twice because I couldn't decide whether I wanted to do it in gold or if I wanted to do it in silver. Heat emboss, I should say. And so I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna do both and then determine which one I prefer. I mean, I think that's the best way to go, don't you? All right. So because I want this to be in gold, I'm looking for my Versamark ink. There it is. And I can't decide between the gold and silver. So like I said, I'm gonna do both, okay? So let's go ahead and use our embossing buddy tool to try to get some of the oils off of our fingers and our hands. Okay, then I'm going to ink this up with our Versamark ink. Now you probably won't be able to see this. Okay. Okay, trying to make sure I have good transfer. Now I tried to sorry, I'm looking for my little tray here. Perfect. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put my tray, my paper in the tray. I'm going to start with my silver. One, because silver is my favorite color. Of gold and silver, I prefer silver. I'm going to add a little bit more. I might have to re-stamp it. That's better. Okay. And the beauty of this tray is it has a little knob here or cover. When you are embossing, you kind of keep it closed, or when you're adding the powder, and then when you've used what you're going to use, you kind of just use that opening to put it back. Use the brush. And this embossing kit is available again through my online store. And in the kit comes the brush, this brush, the tray, the embossing buddy, and a reversible tweezer, which I can never seem to put my hands on. I probably have it in my go bag. What's my go bag? Well, it's exactly like it is, like it sounds. All right, let's see what we have here. Let's close this up. Let our heat gun, our tool warm up. All right, so I'm gonna need to restamp this. I didn't get a very good image. So I'm going to restamp it. I think that it's been primed better now, so make sure we have and add enough ink. I'm going to put this right here. Now it's circular, you guys, so it really doesn't matter. And then I'm going to use one of our punches. And I think this will fit our 2 3/8 inch punch. We'll see. Bring that tray back in with the silver. For the silver, make sure we have good transfer of ink. Yeah, I even have a little Chucky tool here to help. There we go. That should be better. Should be. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, and wasn't. No. All right, here we go. I'm not getting good ink transfer. We'll see what that one looks like. And then we're going to stamp it again and do it in gold. Because I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to do it in silver or I'm going to do it in gold. The blue goes well with silver and it also goes well with gold. So we'll just see which one I prefer. I'll probably color them both up just to be on the safe side. What do I do with the lid there? Here we go. All right, so I'm going to try to pay a little bit more attention to making sure I have good transfer of ink. Spend a little bit more time adding the ink. Because you can't see, as with, you know, when you have colored ink, you can obviously see what's covered and how it's covered and what it looks like. But of course, when you're using the Versamark and it's clear, you really don't know. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see if our gold, how that looks. Much better. There's much better coverage. I guess I paid just a little bit more of attention, more attention to making sure that the stamp was inked better. Okay, so note to self, if you're looking for a tip, that's your first tip, is especially because it's clear, you cannot see, just spend a little extra time to make sure that your adhesive, your ink, your embossing ink gets absorbed into the stamp and then transfers onto the paper properly. Okay. Now I try to make sure I sweep the tray, you guys, and I do that because you don't want your colors to mix. And the best way to do that is to ensure that when you're cleaning your tray, just like I noticed that there's like some gold in here. I want to make sure it's completely gone. That way, when I use black next time or I use white next time, I won't have flecks of gold running through my project, okay? It might be pretty, but it might not be what I'm looking for either. All right, so let's do the second image in silver and see what we got. All right, so we have our images stamped and embossed. I think I like this one better. I'm gonna go with that one. Let me take a drink, y'all. Excuse me. Now we're gonna do a little bit of coloring. I'm gonna bring my alcohol markers in, and I'm gonna start with I'm gonna go with the blues for my background. So I pulled Balmy Blue. And maybe a touch of Pool Party. I don't know. We'll see if we, sorry, Boho Blue. So we'll see. Maybe the boho for a little bit of, I don't know, accent and highlights, okay? So let's get to coloring. And we'll go from there. So when I typically color, I like to start with my lightest color. And I went with blue to highlight the blues that's in the cardstock. Now I'm trying to figure out I think we're gonna make this right here more sky. And this right here, more sky. Okay. Then I'm gonna go with the light boho blue, dark. And wherever I want to add a little bit of highlight, that's kind of where I'm gonna go with the boho. Uh-oh. I kind of just went out of the line a little bit. And I can't get my head in the camera. All right, so we've added our highlight. And now we're going to blend it out just a little bit, okay? So I'm going to go in with the dark Barmy blue. And then I'm going to go right back in with the light Balmy blue. Because we want smooth transitions between colors. I'm going to start from the darker color and then blend it out. Okay. Lastly, I'm going to go right back in with the light Balmy blue and go over the entire piece. That's blue to complete my blend. All right, that's how I get it to look like I've got multiple shades, and I do have multiple shades of the blue, but this is what this looks like. Now I think on I have a little bit of yellow on that one, so I'm gonna color this with my lemon lolly. And this time I'm just gonna do the two colors, and I'm gonna start with the dark lemon lolly. And all I'm gonna do is kind of like almost trace the image. I'm just gonna have the two shade blend. I think because and I'm gonna try if I can figure out how to do it. I'm just gonna speed up the coloring. So if this gets to be fast forwarded, you guys, you'll know why, okay? I'm just gonna oh, this should be here too. Yeah. I have to go back in on that one, do the same thing. Oops. I know I'm coloring at the same time. That's the dark balmy blue. And I'm going to go back in with the light balmy blue and blend it out. Okay. All right, so back to our gold. We're going to take the gold and now we're going to go in with the light lemon lolly and just finish coloring the outside scene. Now, because this is giving a stained glass effect, you guys, if you wanted to change colors in each of the individual panels, you could to give it more of a stained glass look. There we go. So that's what we have on that one. And then the beauty is on this one, I'm going to color her robes in yellow. And I'm going to do the vice versa on the other. Alrighty. And there we have that. Now we got to do her wings. Now, y'all, what color are we going to do her wings? Let's see. I'm going to do a little coloring with some Wink of Stella. And let's see how bright Tahitian Tide would be. I think that'd be a good color. So all I'm going to do is on the wings, and again, I went with this color because I wanted to make sure that you could differentiate the different parts and pieces. Oh, almost went into her face. And again, I'm using the blue as hints of color. So when it kind of runs out, I'm not worried about it being dark. I'm only wanting it to be dark where I'm highlighting. See how there's just this hint of color in the wings? All right, so that's the effect I was going for on that one. All right, so this one's done. Let it dry. I'm not going to do anything with the hair. And then let's do the same thing. Wings are going to be the same color across the pieces. Definitely a watercolor wash look. Okay. And then I think her robe, if I can find my Night of Navy, will be in Night of Navy. Probably only the light. Let's go with Balmy Blue and Night of Navy. Then I'm gonna blend with the dark Balmy Blue. Blend some of that out, blend it down. And then finally the light balmy blue. Okay. Okay. So there we have both of our images. And then I'm going to trim this. Let's put our inks back away. Ba, 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 ba. Balmy blue and Night of Navy. This is boho and boho. Balmy blue, balmy blue. And then we'll put our Night of Navy away. All right. So here's our card. Now we need to make a decision as to whether we think this one will look better on here or this one will look better on there. I think I like this one, but we're going to deal with them both and see what we got. Oh gosh. Okay. We're bringing in our 2 3/8 inch circle punch. Would have been almost perfect, except I didn't stamp it down far enough. Let's do it on this one. Perfect fit. So then I gotta trim that puppy off just a tad. Oops, sorry about that. Hoping didn't make anybody motion sick there. And then we'll just come in and line this up in the punch. Like so. And then punch away. Now this was a 2 3/8. Let's see. I think this is just a 2-inch decorative circle, I think is what this one's called. Okay, so this is because of the decorative edges, it's just a little, it's just not going to work for what we're looking for. Let's see. Oh no, the 2 inches is too small. All right, so the circle punch will have to either be a 2 1/4 or a 2 1/2. Actually, a 2 1/4 or a 2, well, the 2 3/8, which is what we had. So we're gonna pull that guy right back out and punch this puppy out. All right. So I'm gonna have her. That's the gold. And then this is the silver. I think for aesthetics, the silver works better. So I'm going to go with the silver. All right, so there we have that. We know that's going to be our image. And then let's grab some ribbon. I want her kind of down this way, I think. Because, you know, your little angel is looking, protecting you, right? So I have her over that way. So let's see what other images we have in the stamp set. So this was for, oh gosh, what was that? 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. So I'm gonna find a piece of cardstock that is maybe 3 5/8. Uh, 4/8 is a half. So we're gonna go 3 5/8. And 3 5/8. And I just want to create a little bit of a backdrop. Our well, see, now that's not going to work. I don't want to do that because that's covering everything up. All right, and then oh, I don't know that that's going to work, but I'm going to use that. Oh, okay. How about we do that? I don't normally stamp on paper once I've already once I've already adhered it to the card, but I think in this instance I have to because I've already put it down there. So do a little bit of this. So again, if I have this up here, I can stamp the sentiment right there. I think that's what I'm going to do. All right, let's do that. And you're bring in, oh, I'm gonna do some real red because I want a pop of color. Yes, I know, I'm going to a little traditional. And kind of keeping in mind where I want the angel to be. And then I'm gonna line this up here and here. Then I'm just going to add my sentiment here. So this is a card that I've created for you guys today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Then I am trying to decide if I'm going to add ribbon to it or not. And I have to decide that before I close my bookbinding fold. Yeah. So, am I or am I not adding ribbon? I'm going to go find the ribbon. I am adding. Yes. All right. So I brought out some of the gold and silver 1/8 inch trim combo pack. And I'm going to use the silver, of course. Ooh. Nope, that's what I'm going to use. Get the trim pack open. We can get to the trim. There we go. And then making sure that we align this properly in here. I'm going to put that in there. So I want to use the all silver side to show. Yeah, my fingers aren't working properly. No, I'm having a little bit of trouble with my hands, rather my fingers. And I haven't been to the doctor yet to see about it. But I definitely have to get in to do that because it's starting to become a little bit of a problem for me. So, and I don't want that. So I just saw my glue dots. About where I want my bow to be. So I'm going to put that glue dot right about where I want that to be. And then remove the backing and then align my bow, so at least the knot part of the bow, with the glue dot, and then finish off my bow. I don't know how long I want my trim yet, so I'm just going to trim some of it off. All right, so that's what we have here. And then I'm going to go right in now because I know where that's at. I'm going to add my adhesive. Make sure this guy's all lined up in there, because once it's in, it's in. Again, I'm just trying to get this to be even on the inside here, top and bottom, so that it's straight. Perfect. And now I'm going to add my adhesive. And add just a strip on there because I want everything to be nicely layered down, like so. Okay. And there we have our bookbinding fold. Our fold is complete. Like that. Then we're going to go ahead and add our embossed image of the angel looking down on the knight. She's sent to watch over the knight. And there she is. Again, all of the products that I use tonight are from the online exclusive, except the inks, of course. But the stamp set that I used, you can find the punch in the online exclusives. The designer series paper is part of the online exclusives. And I, of course, again, will link to all of the products that I used in tonight's video. So that you can, if you like them and you want to use this same project to create the same project, you can also find them directly on the link that I'm going to leave for you. All right. Let's get the inside of the card done. And then our card will be finished. Okay. All righty. All right, guys, here's our, oh, we gotta trim this off a little bit. So here we have our So Very Merry stamp set that, again, we have created for the Stamping with Friends blog hop. This blog will go live on Saturday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. So when you are over on my blog, just go ahead and make sure you look for that date. There will also be a link to the blog in the description box. You guys, thank you for joining me this evening as I created this card featuring the So Very Merry stamp set from the online exclusives and the designer series paper open season, One Horse Open Sleigh. Okay. Good night.